Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Supernatural Syndicate, a special show that we do on the Horror Syndicate on our Facebook and YouTube pages. The show is dedicated to the TV show Supernatural, which the three of us love. My name is Seth, and I am joined by Luke, Hondo, and Virginia.
Hondo, it'll
Say
work
hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hondo. Okay.
today.
Hondo.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That's great to hear. Hopefully there'll be
Ready
no
to
delay
talk
tonight.
supernatural. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we are going to be discussing the second episode in the first season, Wendigo. And so yeah, well, let's get started. So in this episode, Sam and Dean are still in pursuit of their father. They're following the coordinates left in John's journal. Um, Sam is still grieving over the loss of Jess, and he is eager to get the answers he's looking for. While Dean believes that they should keep doing what they do best, which is saving people and hunting things, the family business. Um, and so along the way, they meet a young woman and her youngest brother, who are desperate to find one of their other brothers who, along with a couple buddies, went missing in Blackwater Ridge. And so they go looking in the mountains. So that about sums up the episode. Uh, let's get into some overall thoughts on it. And I'm going to start with Luke tonight because I know you said that this is an episode you particularly like very well.
Hmm?
So, Luke, go ahead. Give us your overall impressions of this episode.
All right, dude. First of all, I love creatures, monsters. So when this come on and I saw it, I was like, yes, we're gonna have monsters and all kinds of good. I knew we had demons, but the Wendigo, man, that's a cool folklore to touch on so early. You know what I mean? And I love, like you said, Sam is so adamant. He's very let's get this shit done. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I liked it too. The brother dynamic. Dean is like, yeah, I'm with you on that. But like you said, let's see if we can't help some people along the way. He just wants to hunt. That's what he is, And I just liked it, man. I loved it whenever dude like Dean's doing his bullshit and that dude stops him and he's like, bear trap. And he's like, bear trap.
What you doing there, Roy?
Yeah, I know. He was like, what are you doing, fool? Jacking me up. That's right. I like that too. That was really uncomfortable. But I just love the Wendigo legend, man. So anything to do with it, I really enjoy it. And I thought it was handled very well. I love the effects, man. The creature. That lines up too with some certain things about the legend of the Wendigo too. The look of it. That was pretty cool. But all in all, man, I enjoyed it. More monsters.
You enjoyed it? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Uh, what about you, Virginia? What are your overall thoughts on this episode?
Sorry, your furor got me there. No, I really like it. I love how you're actually really getting into a full episode of them going in and investigating something, and it's not Dean having to pull Sam away to go look for their dad. This is actual, their own case. Their dad is not involved. So I really love being able to see them come together and seeing how they actually do it their own way. I mean, yeah, their dad did give them the coordinates, but yeah, I mean, it's still their thing. So I'm leaving their dad out of it. No, I love the storyline, and I'm not gonna lie, the first I don't know how many times I had seen the episode for the first time, the camp scene used to freak me out. It was bad. I'd have to fast forward it really quick because I'd be so creeped out. But no, I love how they did it, and I love how they kind of kept you in suspense of what the thing actually really looked like. Um, and I love also that they had some humor in there, and I just thought the writing of it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good episode.
And can y'all imagine, dude? Because I'm a gamer, so they were like in their tents, chilling and gaming, and one guy had to go piss. Imagine going and taking a piss and this thing getting a hold of you. I mean, did he get piss on him? Did he piss on the Wendigo? You know, I think about these things. But just imagine gaming and having fun, and then that son of a bitch tears through your tent, man. Oh, my butthole would be so tight. Jesus. That's all.
Good to know the things you think about, Luke.
Ah, yeah. It's versatile, man. There's a lot of variety. Full of shit.
Yeah, so for me, like I'm sort of like middle of the road on this episode. There's a lot of things that I like about it. Now, like I like it, like in contrast to the first episode, completely different setting, completely different monster, and I really like the way they did that because this is at the point where they're just they're establishing the whole world, right? The first half of season 1 is just really kind of establishing that the world that they live in, all the different monsters. And I like the fact that it's not just formulaic and not just doing the same thing the first episode did. And then there's it does have that classic line in there where Dean tells Sam how their dad wants them to pick up where they left off. Great moment. I think a lot of it does work, but there's something about this episode where every time I go to watch it, especially if I watch it in close proximity with like the first episode, like halfway through it, like the pacing kind of gets to me a little bit where it kind of like I almost kind of get a little bored a little bit. I mean, it's a good episode and I like it. I'm not trash talking it. But I've always been sort of like middle of the road on this particular episode. I don't know.
Particular the pacing.
Your head there, so
that interests me. Like what particular pacing? Like when you get bored, do you have a specific spot you're like, man, this is it, or is it just one of those deals?
It's like, just about like it's about halfway through the episode, where I don't know. There's just something about it that just doesn't. It especially like when I first watched it, like it didn't grab me like the first episode did.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I'm not trash talking. I appreciate the episode for what it is, especially how it is continuing to evolve the storyline, especially with Sam. And it puts him at a different spot than what he was at in the first episode. So now he's all in for hunting, and he wants the answers, and he wants them now. I don't know. There's something about it that does kind of. I hate to say that it bores me because I can watch it. I can definitely watch it. But at the same time, it's not one of my favorite episodes. It's not an episode that I will go back and like rewatch. Like it's not like Mystery Spot where I can just put that on loop every Tuesday.
You're wrong. A Very Supernatural Christmas. You almost had the right episode.
Oh yeah.
Almost.
Justin Bellow.
Yeah. I was just about to say that too. Like no, we just had Christmas, so I have to say the Christmas one.
Yeah. So, like, what did you guys think of? What did you guys think of the story?
You want to go first, or you want me to?
Go for it.
So start with Virginia.
Oh, okay. We're starting with me.
Well, yes, I want to keep the rotation where we, with every question, we go back and forth between you guys. One of you two starting first. Me always answer. But go ahead.
So, what we think of the overall story?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I did not know a lot about this kind of creature when I first saw the show. So it was, it's not like, Hookman or Bloody Mary or, I mean, yeah, a lot of people do probably know a lot about it. I was not one of those people. So it was definitely very interesting. And that aspect pulled me into it. And I really wanted to find out more about it. Yeah, and I like how they built it up, and I like how they involved the other characters and brought them in, and just, I don't know, I like the story of this episode. I feel like it's very well rounded. I don't know. You're not going to get a lot of complaints with me on this one, Seth.
Mhm.
There are other ones though. I will go there with some other ones, but not with this one. I like this one. Yeah, I mean, the overall
Not a
story I
hater, by the
actually
way.
did enjoy. What?
I said I'm not a hater, by the way. I do like this episode.
No, I said you give it some hate. I didn't call you an actual hater. There's a difference. I am a hater of a few episodes that we will get to later. I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, I like the episode. I like the storyline, and I like how they. Well, I'm getting like an echo of myself. Yeah, well, I really liked it. And I like how they played it out.
Cool beans.
What about you, Luke?
Hey, man.
Whatever your name is.
Okay, like the whole family, the sister, and her little brother and stuff. I felt like that could have been a little more, but the main meat and potatoes was Dean and Sam, like them getting into their like niche and like, well, this is how we're going to do it. Their identities, though, they're fake identities. They're 2 for 2 for people are like bullshit. The first
They're not very
episode,
convincing.
they get good though. They get much better. But it's just funny showing that at the beginning how it ain't perfect, It's not just easy for them. Especially in the first one, he gets arrested and all kinds of crazy shit. But I do like this one. I like self-contained stories. Those are my favorites. Not really. I love big arcs too, but I love little intimate self-contained stories. And this being one of them. And there's a bunch throughout this series that I really enjoy. But as far as the story, yeah, man, I can see a little bit of the pacing. I didn't get bored, but I thought it did well tying the lore into the supernatural universe. Yeah. So I like
for sure.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I like about it too is like, especially like when you get to later seasons and like anytime they have to like fake their way into an investigation, like in the later seasons, it's always like, oh, we're FBI. But like in these earlier seasons, they had like a variety of different fake disguises for whatever situation they were in, and like, yeah. And that was just kind of, it's always fun revisiting these early seasons. There's just so much coolness to them.
It's so cool how like they nail their characters too, and how as they go on they evolve, but it's that same baseline is who Dean is and who Sam is. But I'm not saying they stay the same people, but just as an actor, Jensen and Jared, to just hone in and get it. I'm always amazed in any series that goes for any longevity how they're able to nail that character. I'm sure they're getting ideas, hey, this is who the character is, but to create that character, I think that's cool to nail it and for it to be consistent throughout, well, this one, 15 seasons. So.
Yeah. And I guess just briefly, I already know how Luke feels, but the Wendigo itself, the creature itself, the design, did you like it?
Maybe.
It's Virginia. You're asking.
I know. I was just pausing.
Sorry, my daughter just came down, so I got a little distracted. But
did you like the Wendigo?
Like I do. He's creepy as shit.
Yeah,
there it is. Yeah. just going at the screen. It's not my favorite monster, but I think a good one to start out with.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Definitely creepy.
It was
Don't
more
have
of
a
a
lot of
traditional.
nonsense dialogue or anything, so that was good.
Yeah. It was more of
Yeah.
like a traditional look, not the kind that we've elaborated and created. We've added the antlers and made it more of a beast, where originally it was more of a humanoid, you know.
Well, wait, Luke.
I know.
Oh,
Gotta be impatient.
I was like, wait, what?
He's being a Sam Winchester, getting all impatient.
Yeah.
Son of a.
We'll get to that actually really soon. So I'm gonna start with Virginia on this one. Do you have a favorite line in the episode?
Okay. There was a few that I really liked, and I actually had to sit there and contemplate which one that I really, really liked. But I settled with "Oh Sweetheart, I Don't Do Shorts." Just 'cause
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it cracks me up.
Yeah. Then he's like, "What do you mean I didn't pack provisions?" And he pulls out peanut M&Ms.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that would definitely be my. Yeah, that one's my favorite, or at least one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
M&M's is good. Oh, did y'all get the Carrie kind of nod at the beginning when Sam's
Yeah.
down crying at Jess's grave, and he's like, "Oh, I should have told you," and all of a sudden the hand grabs him and he wakes up. That was cool.
What was that again? I should
A
have
Carrie.
told you.
Oh,
You were like,
he's like, "I'm so sorry." He looks so young too compared to the later seasons. When you see his baby face and he goes to his knees, he's like,
Yeah.
I think I got Ghost. Ooh.
So Luke, what about you? A favorite line?
Dude, I gotta be cheap. The M&M was good, man. What do you mean I didn't pack provisions? You know, I'm trying to think. There was another one, but the daggum fucking Carrie nod got me off of it. Let me come back to it. Let me see if I can. The M&M was good though.
Well, we're gonna be starting with you for this next one anyway. Do you have a favorite scene in this episode?
Ooh, yes. When the homeboy is hung upside down, not upside down, just hanging, and the Wendigo comes in, and the other cat is watching right as this thing is coming at him, man, slowly too, and begins to eat him. And dude screams. I like this detail. He screams, and the brother is, winces. He doesn't scream the whole time because dude eats, I guess, bites his throat out, but he screams for a moment, and then it's silence, and then you hear chomping. So that was creepy as fuck. One of my fears, and I imagine it's a lot of people's, is being eaten alive. So I don't want to be eaten alive. Eaten alive. Eating alive. Jesus. I'm sleepy tonight, Seth.
I think a lot of people don't want to be eaten alive. So you're not.
Hey,
alone.
Yeah, that might be a pretty common thing.
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't know.
so.
I don't know.
Well, there are
But
some
yeah.
weirdos out there, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, they're like, bite my leg. Hey, eating people, cannibalism. Ooh. We're gonna turn into Wendigos.
I know for all that.
Yeah, me either.
Well, good luck with that, Luke. Virginia, did you have a favorite scene from this episode?
That is a really good question. I was struggling with that. But the one I kept on going back to, yeah, it's not like a big scene. I just love when they get Dean down and everything, and him and Dean and Sam obviously already have the decision made that they need to, one, protect them, and the other one needs to go distract the dude, the Wendigo. Sorry. Probably should call him a dude. Um, and he runs out to distract him. And he starts screaming at him, and he's like, "What is it that he said? Oh, that tastes good." He just runs around the corner and disappears. I just love that because that just goes to show why Dean is my favorite character. He always just jumps right in. He's always willing to give himself, and he's just hilarious. I mean, you can't beat that. That would be it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah.
That's why I like Wolverine. He's not hilarious, but he always goes in, never thinking of himself. Dean's that way too, like you said. So, yeah. That's it.
For me, my favorite scene and my favorite line. This is, I guess, it's a cop-out answer. I've already actually mentioned this twice tonight, but it is the scene where Sam and Dean are sitting at the fire there and they're talking.
Yeah.
And Sam is just talking about how he wants to find their dad. He wants to find whatever killed Jess. And, Dean kind of gives him the pep talk with that classic line in there, which helps, define the show and the characters. That's my favorite moment from this. Another one of my favorite lines is, and I've heard it in other stuff too, but just funny the way that Dean says it is when he says, "No one likes a skeptic, Roy." I just thought it was funny how he said it,
Yeah.
And I did like that conflict too with Dean and the Roy character. That actor, I can't remember his name, Callum Keith Rennie or something like that. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's a great character actor.
Yes.
So it was actually nice when I first watched the show to see him in this episode, and especially being a little antagonistic, But
I almost expected him and Dean to butt heads a lot more than they did.
Yeah.
Because of the way his character comes off.
Yeah. I'm sure if it was like a longer episode or something like that, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to remember our format here. I've lost my notes. Why don't we get into some trivia? We'll start with that, which is Virginia's segment here. Do you have any trivia? Yeah, remember?
I'm kidding.
Smartass. No, what's a smartass, Virginia?
Everybody loves a smartass, Seth. It's okay. You can admit it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Luke, agree with me.
Okay.
There we go.
Ass kisser.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So from the last episode that we did, the thing that I forgot to mention last time was the stinking music changes. So when you first saw the episodes, when they first came out, they had an amazing playlist. What is it that they came out with a website of it like years ago? It was a greatest hits of mullet rock, I think, maybe. And this was back in like 05 or 06, when they started keeping track. Well, I'm getting off track already. Jeez. Yeah, so when you first saw the episodes, there was actually different songs that played in each episode for different scenes. And with it going to Netflix, they actually changed a lot of the songs. One of them, this episode, had me so heated. I do not like it. But let me see, where they're in the car and they're driving and Sam wakes up from the nightmare. Yep. So in the original, they played Foreigner Hot Blooded. Yep. Love that song. And I fell in love with that song from when I saw it in that scene. But Netflix decided that they didn't want to keep that song in that scene, and they changed it to something I haven't even actually heard of. Steve Pfister, She Ain't Lonesome. Either you know that song? I mean, obviously, you see it on Netflix and you hear it, but it does not register with me. No idea. The other one being when they are at the bar and they're discussing the case and they're watching the video from the campsite that they got sent. On the actual original, it was Leonard Skinner, down south Jukin. I'm probably saying that wrong. Whereas in Netflix, it's something like Eliza, another person, and a song that I've never heard of. So apparently Netflix just wants to take out the ones that I like. No hate on Netflix. I probably should not put that out in the universe because then they'll take Supernatural down and that won't be okay. Okay, so going back to Seth's favorite scene with them finally saying saving people, hunting things, the family business. Obviously, it being the very first time that it's mentioned in the show, which in one of the interviews that I was watching with Jensen and Jared, they make the joke how if there was a song, it would be Carry On Wayward Son, would be like their theme song. But Jared makes the joke saying that quote, the saving people, hunting things, the family business, that actually would be their theme song, not an actual song itself, because they see that all over the place with it being on shirts and people getting it tattooed, and it's just actually not a bad tattoo sign. Yeah, see, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm like tattoos and yes. So again, that was the first time that was brought in, and obviously they carried that on through the entire show. Another thing being between them shooting the pilot episode and them actually beginning to shoot this episode, it was 4 months. So they did the first episode and it had to get picked up, and then they finally were able to start filming this episode. So there was a 2-month period between those two. Another thing that I really liked that I did not realize at first, there's a couple things that you notice about Jess, his girlfriend, Sam's girlfriend that died. There's 3 things that you actually get to catch on to when you get to see her tombstone. When Sam is like having a little nightmare and he's at her tombstone, you get to see first her full name, which is Jessica Lee Moore. The second thing you actually get to notice is that her date of birth is listed as January 24th, which is also Dean's date of birth. Obviously, the only difference being that their year. I think Dean is, 79 and Jess being 82, I think. Then the third thing that you get to see from her tombstone is the date of her death, which would be, my headphone keeps going out, I'm sorry, November 2nd, 2005 for Jess. It's actually the anniversary of Mary Winchester, their mom. She died November 2nd, 1983. So I thought that was pretty cool how they not only brought in Dean's date of birth, but also brought in the anniversary of their mom's death, dying on the same date. So I like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Let me see. Oh, there's a lot of information on this episode. Another one of the things that I actually saw when I was researching it, trying to find other things, Tommy at the beginning when he's actually reading, he's reading something called The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell. They were almost suggesting that with this book, because it's about mythology and folklore and religion, and they were kind of hinting that with Mary's maiden name being Campbell, that maybe they were kind of hinting at it. It was kind of a little all over the place, but they were kind of hinting at the idea that maybe this book that this person's reading could have been written by an actual hunter because of the tie-in with the last name and the topic of the book that he's reading, dealing with folklore and mythology and all these other spooky things. So they were hinting at the idea, not saying that it was, but they were hinting at the idea that it may have been written by a hunter who had some kind of connection with the Campbell family. The big thing that I mentioned at the end of our last live that we did was Dean's voice. It was a big thing. So when I went to go rewatch Wendigo, I was like really, really trying to pay attention to this, because they said that the voice changes from the pilot to this episode. And you can tell, if you really sit there and listen to it, you can tell there's a difference. So I was reading up on it, and I guess Jensen Ackles said that before he met Jeffrey Dean Morgan and really got to like watch the pilot himself and see what Jeffrey did with the role, he like saw like how his voice was a lot deeper, and it got into thinking how, he's playing this son who idolizes his father, which means he's going to want to do everything his father says. He's going to want to be just like him. He's going to idolize him. He's going to act like him. He's going to dress like him. He's going to listen to the same music as him. He's going to clearly drive the same car as him. So another thing that he was talking about was he's probably going to also want to sound like him. So he wanted to bring that in when they started filming this episode, to try to deepen his voice, to try to sound more like Dad, since it was something that he could actually do to, as he was saying, add flavor to the character of Dean. Jared made a joke about this with his voice change, because obviously he carries it on through the entire series. But after everything was done, Padalecki made a joke that after 327 episodes, he would love to see an MRI of Jensen's vocal cords before and after Supernatural, because when he did the pilot, obviously it would have been fine, but now it would have been like torn to shreds. So it's completely different. And which then Ackles, of course, jumps in and comments that Jared's voice is different too, but probably because he hadn't hit puberty yet. So that's why his voice is different. And I just thought that was great. And it still cracks me up. I tried really hard to say that without laughing, and I couldn't do it. Oh, yeah, see, I'm just cracking myself up over here. It's okay.
As long as you don't snort laugh.
Do I?
I said, long as you don't snort laugh, man. You know, get the laugh in your life.
Whether or not I do that.
I do. I do.
Well, you'll have to throw something at me if I do. It'll hit your computer screen, but it'll be funny. Let me see. Okay, so another thing that I was going through an interview, and Jensen and Jared were talking about how when they were in, goodness, the park that they were in Vancouver, where they had to film part of a lot of the episode. What was it? Stanley Park. They were getting ready for a big scene, and Kripke was there to kind of like oversee what was going on, and because he obviously wasn't going to be on every episode or take part in every episode, but he was there to kind of just get a feel for everything. And I guess he pulled both the brothers, but I should say Jensen and Jared to the side, because he wanted to talk to them, to have a heart-to-heart. And it was pretty much him just letting them know, like, how the whole thing with the show is the relationship between Sam and Dean, how it's the most important thing. When everybody goes back and rewatches the show or talks about the show, they're not going to be focusing on all the different monsters that they fought, or the angels and the demons and yada yada. The most important thing that everybody takes away from it is the relationship between Sam and Dean. So that's something that he wanted to keep at the front of their minds, is to constantly remember that the one most important takeaway that everybody's going to get is their relationship. And they need to keep that in mind, not only on screen, but also off screen, which is why they also started spending a lot of time together off screen, so that it would help build their relationship together and make it stronger on the show. Yeah, I mean, he was basically just saying how he could write all these different monsters. He can write about all these shiny little things, but at the end, the one thing that he can't actually put on paper is their actual chemistry, them actually having a relationship and building that relationship. Because yeah, I guess you could write it down, but it's not something that every person could actually pull off and make you believe it, that they actually get along and that they actually love each other or care about each other. Or that they bicker like brothers. They pull that shit off. They do a good job.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, just going down to, again, I mean, I even mentioned it last time, the importance of their relationship, but with Kripke going on with that, going over that with them, the importance of their relationship, that was really the last little bit that I actually ran into with that. Let me make sure. Yeah, because there wasn't a ton on this episode that I could go through that wasn't like random stuff that people would have already caught up on. Yeah, the only other thing was somebody was joking around keeping a tally of whether or not they were going to say bitch or son of a bitch. And I guess sons of bitches, they both said once. And then Dean also said bitch. So I had to write that down. It's important. That's character development. Kind of, a little bit. In my head, it counts.
Going
So, yeah,
going
that's
back
awesome.
to what you were saying about the music thing, I have a question for you guys. Like, for each of you guys, how do you guys watch the show? Do you guys watch on Netflix or do you guys own it on like DVD or Blu-ray?
Blu-ray.
I have the DVDs, but I just put on Netflix just because it's easier for me to play it. Except for some episodes, I have to watch the DVD because I can't stand some of the scenes with the different music in it. It gets under my skin.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time, I can deal with Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I do that from like for the most part. Like if I'm in the mood to watch Supernatural, I'll put in my Blu-rays. But from time to time, like, or if I'm sick, or maybe if I'm just lazy, I'll just turn on Netflix and watch it there. But I mostly just stick to my Blu-ray collection. So that's why I'm not really too familiar with the differences in the music because I mostly stick to the original stuff, you know. But
well, and a lot of people actually don't pick up on it, which is really surprising because it sticks out to me like it's like somebody's throwing a book at my head or something. I don't like it.
Yeah,
there's just so many scenes that, like the fact that they took Foreigner out. That's just such a good song. After seeing it so many times and then it finally going to Netflix years and years and years later, that song is already like embedded in my brain. So seeing it as something different just messes with me and I don't like it. They should have kept it the same, which I understand they can't get all the rights to be able to keep all the songs that were originally with it. But it is definitely a big disappointment.
Yeah. I agree.
But I made a note for myself to start keeping track of those with the episodes.
Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm curious about the differences. Yeah. So that's great.
Were any scenes cut or altered at all? Editing
Not
wise?
that I know of, no.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, the music thing is just for like a licensing issue.
Yeah,
which is it's kind of weird because they get they got the license that music for when they aired the show, but it's just weird to me. But
it is.
That's the business, another thing, I do think that's really weird, but a huge thing with Dean is the music that he likes and listens to. So when it first came out, all this music that plays throughout all the episodes was music that that he would like, that he would listen to, that he'd be jamming out to and singing. So I felt like that with them changing up some of the music kind of takes away from Dean a little bit in my head. That's how it's working up here. I need to shut up about it because I'm just going to keep complaining.
It's too because like they replaced some like cool songs with some really kind of like, I don't know, crappy ones.
Crap.
And it's just like, yeah. So like, if you watch the show for the first time and you watch it on Netflix, your experience of the show is Dean's choice of music is all this crap.
Exactly. See, it totally takes away from Dean.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Netflix, so
I'm gonna have to start like recording songs, like as I'm watching it, and do like a side to side because I sure as hell am not gonna start singing that shit. Or I need to like post them. Cool I should post them.
I was just gonna say that'd be kind of a cool thing for you to do too, is to post the two different versions of the one scene.
Yes. Write that down because I will forget.
So let's move on. Unless you have anything else, Virginia.
No, I don't.
All right. I know Luke's been dying to talk about this, and which
No, he
is
hasn't.
why I went with Virginia first, so we could just prolong it. But his head looks like it's ready to explode. So, Luke, talk to us
Hey.
about the lore of the Wendigo.
Okay, brother. It started, man, almost, how long was it? I can't remember how long it started to go, but it originated in East Coast Canadian forest, the plains, Great Nations, Great Plains nations, even some of the First Nations. That ought to put in perspective what the timing on this. And the whole deal with it, they originally, you ate human flesh, obviously, you become a Wendigo. And most cultures have, or a few have, variations of this story. And of course, it's to dissuade eating your own species, it's counterproductive. Science has even shown, like, if you eat certain parts of the human brain, it will drive you to psychosis, and it will actually make you'll lead to your death. It's kind of like nature's way of plucking out crazy people that want to kill their own people, you know. But East Coast Canadian forest, Algonquin language people, the language is what carried it on into modern times. It's always perceived as a malevolent spirit. It's never good. And the way they describe it is, it does look more like it does. There's a game called Until Dawn on PlayStation 4, and it has Wendigos in it, and they look very similar to the one in this supernatural episode 2, where they're emaciated, they're thin, they have long arms, long fingers, long claws, but they look more human. And yeah, I said Wendigo psychosis. Oh, I'm eating people and I'm going crazy. And almost always the trait of these things is insatiable hunger and greed. I wasn't aware of the greed so much. As we know, a lot of these legends and stuff always have little, I don't know, lessons to teach you. Like I said first, don't eat your own kind. That's a good one. And then don't be greedy. If you do, you'll become a Wendigo. So,
Don't be greedy.
yeah, it says insatiable hunger and insatiable greed can lead to you becoming a Wendigo.
Well,
Oh, another cool thing. Remember, I said that they have several different cultures that have, well, there's one that's called a Wei Chu Gay, and it comes from the Baskin people of the Pacific coast. And they, yeah, Wei Chu Gay. This one, though, is not like physical, where the original Native Americans, it was more of a physical type threat. The Waichuge is more of ethereal, however you say that. And the way they kind of ward this off, they dance with these weird masks that look fucking creepy. And for some reason, they dance backwards around these giant drums that are being beat by other people in the tribe. And that's supposed to drive off the Wa Chu Gay. Also, damn, I lost it. I had something really cool. Watch you, Gay. I had to come back to me. Anyway, like I said, do not eat people and do not be greedy, or you'll become a Wendigo. And a lot of this, there's been some very, oh, I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna say happy accidents because none of them are fucking happy. There's been several accidents that have happened throughout history that lend themselves well to this legend. The main one is the Donner Reed Party. I'm sure y'all have heard of them, right? The Donner Party.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you, Virginia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, these
That's why I was
guys and
shaking my
gals,
head.
I can't say I'm blind. So, look, this is insane. From Springfield, Illinois, 500 wagons went west. And do you know that a lot of these folks had no idea about dealing with Native Americans, their languages, their culture? They didn't know anything about survival. Not to say that there wasn't hunters. Sure, a lot of the men were hunters. Even some of the women were good hunters. And they all set out in 1846. Because back then, the Oregon Trail, oh, you've died of dysentery. But I'm telling my age. We used to play that in school, man. Wow, wow, wow. You've died of dysentery. But anyway, these people would go on the Oregon Trail and they would, they want to stake their claim, man. They want to get some land, grow their families. Well, they get about halfway and shit kind of gets rough. The snow hasn't set in. They're not into the snow yet. They come to this guy. Hastings Cutoff. I'm not sure what his last name is, but his last, or what his first name, what his first name was, but his last name was Hastings. It's kind of like this depot stop. You can kind of stock up and get info about the land, the terrain, all this junk and jazz. And he suggested that they take a detour. It's quicker and it'll get them to California faster. And what he'll do is they can go ahead and pay him some, trade with him. He'll be waiting for them at Fort Baker in California because the Spanish-American War is going on at this time. So it's kind of hectic, but he'll be waiting for them. The only problem is that like with any story, taking the shortcut is never good. They wind up, what got them was a very early spring hard snowfall. It was out of nowhere, a blizzard set in, and almost right away they were out of their element. They did put oxhide on the roofs trying to weatherproof the cabins to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Before it was over with, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. But when you do without sleep or you do without food, you go into certain kinds of psychosis. Your body is trying to shut down certain parts of you, especially in your mind. If you don't have protein a lot, your mind, it'll start, not literally, but it'll kind of start to eat itself. But they split up, the Reeds and the Donner, they split up into their own respective cabins. And they were getting so hungry that people started dropping. I think they started with 87 in this party that took the shortcut, and they began to eat the oxhide off the roof, off the rug. The kids started doing it first in front of the fireplace. They had done got down, the Donners had, to the last of their rations, and they were running out of food. They had killed a bear, one of the Donner men had, when they first got snowed in, but that was the only big game they were able to bring down. And like I said, the children began eating the oxhide underneath it, and they began, after a while, like I said, eating the roofs. And they split off in fall. They eventually ate their horses and ox. They ate most all of them. It got down so bad, y'all. I want you to try to imagine this. They were boiling horse bone and ox bone for broth and soup, and eating those bones because after boiling them so long, they become brittle. And I should have looked it up if it gives you any nutrients. I doubt it. I have no idea. But they were literally eating fucking bones. And out of the 87, several times the strongest tried to go out, but they never made it back. Finally, after I think it was seven of them. No. I got to tell you this first. One of the Reeds actually killed two of the Donner Party. And we know this because it's in a diary, but they mysteriously died. They vanished one day doing chores. One of the Reeds actually killed them and ate them, cut them up, and said he had killed a deer and fed his family. So he on his deathbed, he admitted this. He died there, so it wasn't very long after he had murdered them that he confessed to it, which is odd because to kill somebody would take considerable effort, and you would. But I guess he was ravenous. You know what I mean? I guess it
Yeah.
was like this is it. So but seven men went out, and a lot of them lost the underside of their feet because they began to eat their snowshoe. It too had animal hide on it. And when they finally, in 1847, I'm not sure, but they came across local Native Americans, and the natives ran, frightened, because they were so emaciated. They actually looked like Wendigo. That's what they were saying. Wendigo. They thought Wendigo were coming to get them. And they probably would have already been rescued if not for the American Spanish Civil War and for that early snowfall, because it was getting very bad. Wagons were breaking down, shit was happening even before the snowfall. So it kind of seemed like this was a doom excursion from the get. So I'm not, again, if I'm a living back then in Springfield, Illinois, and I know there's free land and we can go and make a go of it, but I'm not going to go unless I know how to take care of myself or take care of my family. And it's sad because so many children died. In fact, I think out of 87, 48 made it, which is really incredible that 48 souls were able to make it, considering how hellish it got. I really recommend reading those diaries. It is absolutely terrifying. It's horrifying. Like I said, the less you eat, your mind goes. And to see the diaries go from entries that are calm and collected and make sense to where you start getting down into gibberish, it's fucking terrifying, you know? But anyway, that is one of the big legends that, or not legends, historical incidents that really feeds into the Wendigo legend. There's been several books, movies done about this party that ties into Wendigo. And as far as Wendigo goes, one of my favorite designs is from Antlers. Have y'all seen that?
I haven't
Either
seen
of
that
you?
one yet.
Oh,
Wait,
dude,
which
it
one is
is
that?
Antlers.
Came out like last
Del-
year, I think.
yeah, Guillermo del Toro produced it, and I can't remember who actually wrote and directed it, but it's actually straight up monster flick, so I love it. I need like deeper meaning things sometimes, like the Wolf of Snow Hollow was a good swerve, but every now and again I need fucking monsters. And it's a legit monster, dude, and it is fucking badass. Oh, I've got a Wendigo that's in my upcoming coloring book too. To see it, you'll have to get the coloring book, but it has antlers too. I'm a fan of the monster, hairy, skull-like face antlers. I'll take that over the humanoid-looking skinny thing. I want a big fucking moose Wendigo monster. Rawr. But that's about it, Seth. I had more, but I told you last week. Um, but I dug through. What else do I have? Yeah, that's
I'm sorry,
about it,
did you
man. Go ahead.
do you know like roughly around like I don't know the origins of this creature, like when it originated?
I did not write down the date, Seth, but like I said, the Great Plains, the Great Nations, and the First Nations. This is where this came from, and it came from the eastern coast, the coastline and forest of Canada, and some have even come from the not the Sierra Nevadas. Um, The Great Lake regions. Yes, the Great Lake regions as well.
Oh, you got so excited.
I hate it when I forget stuff, man. It sucks. I forget shit all the time. I went into Walmart one time years ago for a coworker. I got in there and I'm just thinking and jamming. And I'm like, why the fuck am I in here? No shit. I was like, hey, yo, what am I doing at Walmart? But yeah, the First Nations is as far back as it goes. The First Nations. I would look, but I don't know how to do my phone and keep y'all on there, so I'm not going to do it.
What are you trying to look?
The origin, the year when Wendigo, the legend of Wendigo first popped up, year-wise. How many hundreds of years? We looking for Wendigo years. Trying to keep it going.
When I hear you singing, it scared me. Thanks.
La la la. I'm Toby Keith.
The earliest mention that I'm getting is the early 17th century.
Early 17th century, really? So
yeah.
I wonder how far back the First Nations go. Maybe to the 16 or 1700s. So you said the 1700s or 17th century?
Century.
Okay. So it's not a very old one.
But I'm not getting specific dates. I'm sure there's probably prior, but
do you see the First Nations and the Great Plains and Great Lake Nations?
There is a lot.
There is. There is
lot, yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
And I couldn't pronounce all of them. I tried. I'd put it into Siri and she'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? So I'm not even going to
You did a lot better than I would have done. I would just be spelling it out. Listen, this is how you spell it. You say it how you want.
And some of them, some of it was written in the original language, like about the Wendigo. Of course, I couldn't fucking read it, but that was pretty cool, I thought. You know, I was like trying, and I'm like, I can't do this shit.
Okay, you really need to. Oh man, I wish you would have said that before because I really need to see some and hear some examples of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Examples of what?
Examples of the things that you think you don't know how you're going to translate it. How you think it needs to be said.
That would be terrible. That would be terrible.
It would be amazing.
Yeah. I can imagine how I would slaughter someone's language. I'd be like, yeah, man, it's that right there. Yeah. Jesus.
That right there makes it.
I'm Popeye. Sorry, Seth. We're devolving.
Fine.
We are enjoying conversation. That is what's happening.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what that was.
It is.
I'm
there
slow.
You go. Catch it. Bring it back. You got
I'm slow for the uptake. I'm lost in translation. I've been that way all my life.
We know, Luke. We know.
See? He knows. He understands. But yeah, Wendigo is a cool fucking monster. Wendigo's a cool monster, and anytime it's done well, I'm there for it.
So there's versions of it with and without antlers.
Absolutely.
So I noticed that in this one, like in this episode, there's no antlers, but it's been described before with. So I wasn't sure how accurate the show was with that because I know, there's an episode in I don't remember the season where obviously they make mistakes, and so Sam mispronounces Samhain. He says Samhain. So I just didn't know if it was like one of those deals where just by default they got the thing wrong or.
They actually got it right, Seth. Like I said, the original look for these Native Americans was gaunt, emaciated, bald, long-armed, long-fingered, long-legged creature, but it greatly resembled more of a human than it did of a beast. And then the Athabascan people.
Oh, wait. I totally forgot. What you were just saying, how you were describing, and there goes my headpiece. When you were describing their appearance, the beast of a man, I totally forgot. I'm so sorry, but it just popped in my head how they made a joke saying that they were determined to find a person to play Wendigo that would be taller than Jared Padalecki. Sorry, that just popped into my head, and I had to say
Who played him? Do y'all know?
Oh my
was
gosh!
it Doug Jones or I bet he didn't play that. Do y'all know who played the Wendigo?
I was looking at his stuff today. Really? Come on. Give me a sec. Keep talking.
Okay. Because whoever did it was fantastic. Who does their effects, Seth? They have a pretty good team, man. A good effects team for a television show, especially in 2005, starting out. So
I'm not sure who did the effects on the show, to be honest with you.
I'm going to check that out. That's something that interests me. We can talk about.
It would not surprise me if it was someone who worked on the X-Files. Because a lot of the same crew came from there.
Did you see the one where Bryan Cranston played on X-Files?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's how Vince got to know him, you know. That's pretty cool. I love that show too, by the way. How many seasons did it go, Seth?
X-Files?
Yeah.
9 full seasons. Then they had 2 movies.
Yeah.
And then they did over the last couple of years, there was 2 like revival miniseries seasons, but I didn't watch those last 2.
I did.
Surprisingly, I haven't,
They were pretty good, Seth. I mean, the first, it was interesting. It pulled back the curtain a little bit more. Okay, never mind. That's a different topic.
The X-Files Syndicate?
Yeah. Hey, Ray.
I don't know how to say this dude's last name.
Try. Be brave.
Dude. I might as well be speaking another language.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, it's Roy Campsall. Campsall.
Yeah.
That's the person who did Wendigo, and apparently he was somebody in Cabin in the Woods, and I really want to know who that was now.
Ooh.
I know.
I love Cabin in the Woods. That werewolf is badass. That should have been the creature looking for him, man. Instead of the zombie family, that werewolf, dude. Again, getting eaten alive. I mean, I know they're zombies, but they were just murdering them. Werewolf's going to eat that ass.
Don't, Luke, don't ruin werewolves for me, please.
Oh, I won't. So if you hear, that's a werewolf behind you.
I'll have to mute you. I'll have to put you on mute, Luke.
Okay. That's
real
not the first
fast.
time. That's 2 episodes in or 3. Mute. I told you a little bit goes a long way.
Oh, that's so awesome.
All right. Well, let's get into some final thoughts on this episode.
All right.
And I will start with Luke on this one.
All right.
What are your final thoughts on season 1, episode 2, Wendigo?
All right, dude. It's fucking really important. To the overall arc, the fact like Sam is so focused now, and Dean, I wonder if a little bit of him is excited. Because of what got Sam gung ho was the murder of Jess, but I just like the fact, like Dean says, going to the family business. I really like that. They're getting into their own. They're driving around. They're taking up these phony identities, trying to find out information. You were right. That fire conversation was really good, man. When everybody is sleeping, and everything. That's really good. That would have been my favorite scene. The other one was what would terrify me the most. But the monster was A class. The story was really good as far as what pertained to the brothers. And I really can't wait to talk about the episode 3.
You sound like Chewbacca over there.
I can't do Chewbacca.
Keep practicing.
I don't know. Got no Chewbacca.
Luke, you can do
I
anything
expect
you
better
want
from
to do.
you.
You could just believe in yourself, man.
Exactly. See? Get that shit.
I believe.
All right, Virginia. What are your final thoughts on this episode?
Final thoughts. No, it's a good episode. I think that it was it's a good case for them to start with. Again, because I'm really not counting the pilot. With them actually finding something, figuring out what's going on, going in to investigate it. They've got the creep factor, kind of like with Jaws, you know what's happening, and you know people are dying, and
Yeah.
there's something in the water. Except obviously,
Something's in the woods.
Yeah, something's in the forest. It is happening. Yeah, so you kind of get that feel for it, and of course that drags everybody in. It always pulls you in. And I love, I really like that you're getting more and more of the relationship dynamic is coming out with Sam and Dean. Because Sam is more willing to be there because now he wants, as you guys were saying earlier, he wants answers. He wants to find out what's going on, and now he's actually willing to be involved in the actual hunt.
Yep.
No, so it just no, I really like it. I think with everything unfolding and the things that it's showing, and I like it. It's not my favorite, but I do like it. I did enjoy it.
Absolutely. Agree.
And I didn't get bored.
No, I didn't either. I've watched it a million times. Every episode.
I had to say that.
I have watched it 10 times, maybe 20 in the last week,
See?
2 weeks. Yeah.
I haven't watched it that many though.
I put it on loop when I'm going to bed, and just
we don't need to know, Luke.
you don't want to know my sleeping habits, Seth.
We don't need to know about you watching the Wendigo and
Oh, come on!
Oh,
I'm not gonna be able to watch that episode anymore.
I almost did that a while ago. I said something and I almost went. That is funny, Seth.
Did you just? Never mind, Luke.
I did a George Carlin. Well, you said I was, Wendigoing.
Okay. Well,
Shit.
Let's move on before Luke's camera gets all sticky.
That's America.
Okay. I breathe, Virginia. Just breathe. You got this.
You got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All under control now? Okay.
Go. Just keep going.
Okay. So I like this episode, and like Virginia said, it's not one of my favorites. It's not one that I will intentionally go back to rewatch unless I'm doing like a marathon of the first season. But I do like I do like it, especially as a contrast to the first episode and how it just kind of helps build on the world that they're in, and how the different monsters require different solutions, and there's just different stories that come with the different monsters. So I appreciate it for that, and I appreciate it for for it, especially moving along Sam's character and his arc, which is
Yeah.
huge, you know, and
It is.
especially when we find out in seasons 4 and 5, a lot of things were predestined.
That's right.
But yeah, it's a good episode. I don't hate it. You know, like somewhere around the middle of the episode, I just kind of I get a little eager for it to be over with.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in a way where it's like I hate this episode, where I can't watch it, or I'm not trying to be insulting towards the episode, because it is a good one. It's just it's not one of my favorite episodes of the show, and at least it's not bugs, right, guys?
Yeah.
It's just not
Oh gosh. We're skipping that. We're skipping that episode.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about that in full detail.
No, I'm. Yeah, I predict I'm gonna be sick that day.
We'll postpone until you get better.
Be like
But
The
I ain't
Rock.
getting better.
Yeah, it is a bad episode. I mean, not bad. It's just it's funny y'all
It's
mentioned
amazing.
that. It's funny.
Oh, Luke, for that specific episode, how you go into the lore, I expect you to have lore on each and every single insect that is in that episode.
Okay. I'll
Each
see what
one.
I can do.
All of them.
You have to do it, Luke.
And
You
even
have to.
specify.
This is a Herculean task.
Hey,
We'll see.
Hey,
We'll see
you
what
got
happens.
this.
We'll
You
see
got
what
this.
happens. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We'll see. Every
There's
bug.
no we'll see. You got this, man. You can do it.
All right. I got bugs crawling on me. Y'all ever seen that movie Bug? Where she's got schizophrenia and everything with Ashley Judd? Oh my God, it's terrifying.
No, what's even more terrifying than that is Hellraiser 2. If you know the scene I'm talking about, the guy who thinks he has all the bugs on him. Yeah. That's fucked up.
I love
But-
Hellraiser 2.
Good man. Good man.
It's a very good sequel. I almost like it better. No, I don't. I love the original, how isolated and dark it is. I love how movies used to be so fucking, they were just darker in the late 70s, early 80s, well, through the 70s and 80s, even in the 60s. Now everything is lit so much, it's like, give me darkness. Anyway.
Okay.
I have these fits.
So, do you guys have anything else to say before we call it a night?
No, man.
No. Other than it's Seth's favorite episode in the middle of
Yeah.
it, like absolute top favorite ever.
He says
Like,
he gets really
He wants
excited
to watch it on
halfway.
repeat. So we may have to repeat this again next week.
Halfway, he just gets going. He's like, yeah.
That's it. Forget the beginning, forget the end, just the middle.
That's
just the
right.
juicy part.
Yeah.
Right? Did
I
I
want
That's why I
some
turned into
M&M's
Luke.
now. M&M's. I want some. Peanut M&M's. Oh, Lord, I'd give anything for some.
Go get some.
I know.
All right. Well, we're gonna call it a night on this episode. We will be back next week to talk about the third episode of Supernatural. If you can, if you're anyone who's watching, please subscribe on YouTube to the Horror Syndicate. You can follow us on come on, motherfucker.
Facebook
fucking
popped up.
computer sucks.
It's all
Did
right. Facebook popped
Hey,
up.
hey,
Yeah.
hey.
There we go. Yes, you can follow us, the Horror Syndicate on Facebook. You can also follow the Supernatural Syndicate on Facebook, which is a special page run by Virginia. That's
Oh, hey, that's me.
exclusively all about. Oh my God, that is
3.3K.
What?
3.3K, man.
When did that happen?
Today, I guess, or yesterday. But you got 3-point
I need
K.
to work on that. I'm kind of
3.3K.
disappointed in myself. Oh, I'm continue. Just go.
Yeah, man. It's rocking.
You're doing good.
Hell yeah.
Doesn't about us having a conversation about it anyway.
Rock
It'll grow.
on.
It'll grow.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, thank you for anyone who watched in whatever tonight. Have a good night, and you next Tuesday.
Peace.
Fucking end. Come on.
We'll just stay here
My
all
computer
night.
sucks. I keep hitting end broadcast, and it's not doing it.
It's all right.
Just keep talking, guys.
Oh yeah.
Luke, say something stupid.
Foghorn Leghorn ate a